Hi everyone, this is Tuplex. Welcome back. At the end of the last episode, I said that I was going to go and take out some of these biter bases, but I decided to wait. The reason for that is I wanted to get some more powerful weapons available to me. So I crafted a shotgun, and I've started making some shotgun shells. Shotgun shells take 2 iron plates and 2 copper plates, so they're fairly easy to make. And just as a temporary way to make them, I just placed a machine between these 2 lines where I already have iron and copper, and I'm just making myself a stack of shotgun shells. The shotgun is particularly effective to destroying the actual biter nest itself. And it looks like I'm getting an attack over here. Okay, no problem. So I'll probably start to get a few attacks soon. But in any case, I wanted to get the shotgun so that I could use that against the biter nests. And to select different weapons, all you do is you press the tab key, and it'll cycle through the slots that you have full. Okay. And once we get into petroleum processing, I'll probably make a flamethrower as well. Those are a very strong weapon. But for the flamethrower, we need the military science packs, which we haven't started making yet. But that is what I would like to do today. Now, the other thing I wanted to do in order to make going out and getting those biter nests easier is to make a car. We've already researched automobilism, which gives us the ability to produce one. But in order to make the car, we need some engine units, 8 of them to be exact. Engine units take steel plate, gears, and pipes, so we can easily make those. Now, at some point in the game, we'll be automating the production of engine units. But for now, let's just make enough that we can craft a car, and then I'll show you how to use the car. So I'll put down 8 assemblers here. This is just temporary. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, and I'll set these all to craft engines. All right, and then we just need steel gears and pipes, which I already have a lot of. So I'm just gonna take these, I'm gonna control right click and then drag across. So we'll just drop some in, the same with my gears, and the same with my pipes. There we go. And that'll give us more than enough to craft these things. And then once the first one is done on each machine, I'm just gonna reset the recipe and then copy that over, and that'll take out all the engines and the ingredients. Okay, so now I've got 8 engines, quick and easy, and then I can craft myself a car. All right, so when you pick up the car, you can place it down. Before you place it, if you press the R key, you can change its direction. Okay, so I'll put it down right here, facing east. It requires fuel, as you might guess, so we can throw in a little bit of coal there into the fuel slot. Now it also has a machine gun, and you can load it with ammunition so that you can use the gun when you're in the vehicle. Okay, and then it's also got a trunk where you can put whatever you want in there. When you're done using it, you can pick it up just like you pick anything else up. Just hold down the right mouse button. All right, so let's put that back in there. Let's put not all the ammo. We'll just put that ammo in there. And then to get in, you just get close to it and press the enter key, and it'll start up. And then you use AWSD to drive it, just as if you're walking, but it goes much faster than walking does. Now, it's a little tricky to drive this thing, and those of you who have seen me play before know that I'm a pretty bad driver and I crash into things, right? So you have to be careful. You'll want to have some repair packs when you start using your car. We'll get this out of the way while I'm here. Okay. And then also, once you get in, you can see that your weapon bar changes. So now we can see that we have the vehicle machine gun. And I think, well, the vehicle machine gun has a shooting speed of 15 plus 4.5, whereas our machine gun has a speed of 10, right? So the vehicle machine gun shoots 50% faster, and it has a longer range, right? So it does more damage than the machine gun that you carry on your person or on your character. All right. Now the problem I have with the cars is that it's, once you get out of north-south or east and west orientation, it's hard to get it. It's hard to get it to go perfectly straight again. So, but it gets better with practice. Okay, so now I've got a lot of shotgun shells, and again, after this episode, I'll go and blow up some better bases. All right, but for now, I would like to start making military science packs. So let's get ready to do that. So let's look at the recipe here. Now, the first thing to note is that on this recipe, it says 2 times military science pack. So that means that, whereas these just say logistics science pack and automation science pack, that means that for every production cycle in the machine, you're going to get 2 science packs. So this produces them 2 at a time. And some of the other science packs are like that as well. Okay, and this requires 1 piercing round magazine, 1 grenade, and 2 walls. Okay. Piercing rounds take the regular magazines plus steel plus copper. The grenades we already know how to make. In fact, we're already making them over there. So that's been done. And then the walls require stone brick. All right. So because these take 10 seconds to make, and we make 2 at a time, that means that we need 5 assembly machines making these science packs in order to keep up with the red and green. Right? Because if I make 2 every 10 seconds, that's essentially 1 every 5 seconds. And with 5, that's 1 per second, which is, the design goal that we've got going on here. So let's go ahead and start to set that up. I guess I'll continue building over this way. We could either build it up here or we could build it down here. Let's build it down here. Do I really want to? No, let's build it up there. All right, so first we need to clear some trees. So we'll get out our grenades. Right, 2 grenades will clear an area. You got to make sure you keep it within that green circle range, but you also don't want to throw them too close because they hurt you if you get too close. And I'm going to try to avoid damaging my radar and my power poles and such. All right, now I have to do some repairs. Okay, so these last few I'll just clear out manually. Okay, so let's start by 1, 2, 3. All right, 1, 2, 3. All right, that power pole's in the way. And then 1, 2, 3. Right, that's where. Okay. 1, 2, 3. All right, that's where our first machine's going to go. Okay, so if we make all right, yeah, let's start with the science packs themselves. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. military science pack. There. Now, these require 3 ingredients each. Okay, so that means that I'm going to need at least 2 belts, because one belt can only carry 2 ingredients at a time. Okay, so we're just going to sketch this out. I might have to change the direction of these belts as we build this up, but this is a good start. All right, so there's a couple ways that you can do this. Right, we could put 2 inserters like that, and then 2 long inserters like that. I ran out of power poles. Let's make some more. Right, and then you just place your power poles along like that. That'll power them all up. So that way the yellow inserter will pull from the near belt and the red one will pull from the far belt. The other option that you could do is to place the belts farther away, and then you can use 2 red inserters like that. So this one will pull from this belt and this one will pull for that belt. That's the way I usually do it, but this time I'll do it the other way because I think it's a little bit more intuitive. But either way works. Okay, so let's just do this. Right, and then, whoops, and then we put the red ones there, like that. Okay, so that way each one of these machines has a yellow and the red, and by having them in groups of 2 like that, it makes it easier to power them up. Let me remove these poles for a moment. All right, so we put one there, we put one there, we put one there, and then you can cover everything with the small power poles. Okay, and then put that there to keep our radar going. Okay, and then the output will come down this way. I'm going to throw in a few lights. I'm going to grab some of these copper cables. I'm just control left clicking on these machines, just so I have some in my inventory, because then it makes it much faster to craft power poles and lights and stuff like that. All right, so I'll just throw in a few lights. All right. And, oh man, I don't have anything, do I? We're gonna have to make them all soon. Okay. And this is the reason why I left these 2 lanes open, so that I could bring the other science packs down, and I need to get them up there. So actually, let's go up here. All right, because we need to get those science packs over to where the labs are. I'm going to leave a gap of 1 because there's going to be another belt coming up later. Right, eventually there'll be 2 belts. All right, and then we'll have to come down so that we can hit this first set of labs. All right, so we'll have 2 belts coming in like that. And then this one will curve up here, and then the other belt will come up like that. All right, because eventually we're going to have, let's just move that over there. And I'm out of belts. Okay, I'm not quite as well prepared as I usually am. Let's craft some various inserters and other stuff. Okay, so eventually we'll have those 3 belts, right? Because if I search for science packs, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, plus this 6th one, and the red ones we already make. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Eventually we'll have the 7th one once we start launching rockets, but we'll get to that later. Okay, so we need to be able to handle 3 belts full of science packs. And that gets a little tricky, but we can make this work. Let's bring this down one more, actually. Like that. No, one more. Sorry. There. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put an underground belt there and there. And I'm going to replace this whole belt with undergrounds, except for this last one. Okay, so you can see that the undergrounds are coming out right in front of these yellow inserters, so that these yellow inserters will always be able to pick up. I'll get rid of these extra ones that I've got here. And now I have space here to place inserters to pull from the other belts. And for those, I can just do that. Right? And I just have to make sure that each set of labs has at least one inserter pulling from those last 2 belts. Okay, so that way the labs will be able to get all 6 science packs. Okay, so we're all set, at least over there. Okay, so now let's get to work on making our ingredients. These are all fairly simple to make, fortunately. So let's start with the ammunition. So the piercing rounds require copper plate, steel plate, and the yellow firearm magazines, which we're already producing. And as a matter of fact, since we're going to start to produce them over there, I'm going to shut off the production that I've got over here. We won't need that any longer. So I'm going to go ahead and pick that up. And in fact, from this point, we're going to stop using the yellow ammunition, and we'll start using the more powerful red ammunition. And we'll pick up our grenades too, because we're going to be making grenades over here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this up so that we're making extra, so that we have not only enough for the science packs, but we're also making extra for our own use to fight the biters. Okay, so in this case, you can see that we have a 3-second cycle time. We're going to need, these take 1 every 10 seconds times 5, right? So that means we need to produce 1 every 2 seconds. So if we have 2 machines making these, that'll give us 1 every 1.5 seconds. Which will be a little bit more than what we need for the science packs. And that ought to be enough, I think, to, over time, accumulate enough ammunition to supply us militarily as well. Yeah, so let's go ahead and make 2 per second. Now, these need copper plate and steel plate, which we are already making, and then we need the yellow ammunition. And those take 1 each. The yellow ammunition takes 1 second. So if we have 1 of these, 1 machine making yellow ammunition, that'll be enough to feed, or more than enough to feed 2 machines making red ammunition, right? Because we'll make 2 every 2 seconds, and we only need 2 every 3 seconds, right? So we could set something up like this. Yellow in the middle, red on the outside. Okay, and then if I output onto the far belt, I can output there and there. If I do that, then they'll get on the belt here. This one will feed these two machines, and this one will feed the other machines as well. Okay, so these will be going on the left side of this first belt. Okay, and then we can put, whoops, inserters there. This only needs iron plate. So we can bring in a belt of iron right there. And then this is going to need steel and copper, so we can have another belt right there that has steel and copper combined. Right, so iron, steel, copper. And then down here, we can place the excess. So what I'll do down at the end, I'm going to make a filter inserter. And I'll place a chest. And we'll tell this filter inserter only to pick up red ammunition. And then we'll put, I don't know, let's say 4 stacks right there. So all the extra red ammunition that doesn't get used will go into that chest, and then we can just come over and pick it up when we need more ammo. Okay, so let's get started on that. Let's extend this path a bit. We're gonna have to take out more trees, of course. Okay, so this belt is iron. Oops. So we'll extend our bus. Okay, and there's iron. And then this belt is going to be, whoops, this belt's going to be copper and steel. And I'll show you how we can combine belts here in a moment. And I'll go ahead and extend all 4 of these belts. I'm not sure if I showed you when we were working on the stone brick. We got, I separated the stone, right? I split off the stone so we could have stone on the bus. And then remember that underground belt trick that I showed you? I did that at the end of these to get the coal that I need for the bus as well. Okay, so I just put 1 underground on each side to pull from that half of the belt, and then I join them together here. So that's how I'm getting the coal onto the bus as well. Okay, so now we need to get steel and copper onto a belt over here. And there's a pretty easy way that we can do that. If I put a belt there and I load from both sides like that, that'll put 1 material on one side of the belt and 1 material on the other side of the belt. Okay, we finished our inserter capacity bonus. Let's go ahead and do the rest of this research. Let's get mining productivity next. This gives us a 10% productivity bonus on mining, and what that means is that essentially for every 10 mining cycles that the mining drills do, we're going to get an extra piece of ore out of it. This is a really great thing to research early, because what this means is eventually you'll be able to get more ore out of the same ore patch, which means it'll last longer, and you'll have more time before you have to move and find another ore patch. So I like to research that early. So let's do that. Let's do the chemical science packs. We'll do modular armor. We'll do modules. I'll just take these in order. Stronger explosives 1. And we'll leave it like that, because to be honest, once I get military science packs, I'm probably going to change that. All right, so let's put a splitter right there. So that's going to load copper onto that side. And then we just have to get steel up onto that belt. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put an underground right there to make myself a little gap. All right, and then we'll come up like that. There. So now I have steel on one side and copper on the other side. Okay, so here, let's see. I'm going to need an inserter there. And I'll put one there as well. Actually, if I put a power pole there, I can power the whole thing like that. Oops, wrong way. Okay. All right, so now we're making the red ammo. You can see it going down the belt. It gets picked up. Once these machines have as much as they need, it'll go into that chest at the end. All right. So, first part's done. Let's do grenades. So for grenades, we need coal and iron plate. I've already got a belt of iron plate right here, so let's take advantage of that. We need to bring the coal up. So what I want to do is I want to make the grenades up here. All right, so grenades take 8 seconds. And that means that if we want one every 2 seconds to feed the science packs, we would need 4 machines making grenades. But I also want some extras, so I'm going to use 5. All right, so let's go ahead and place that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are all going to be grenade makers. Whoops, not that one. Okay, and then we just need to get a belt of coal up there. So let's bring a belt of coal over there. Actually, it'll have to be right here because I can't bring it up here because the steel is already there. Right? All right, now in this case, you have a couple of options when you're pulling from the far belt like this. You could just put underground belts like this. That's actually a nice and clean way to do it. But you're using a lot of underground belts. So the way that I will often do it instead is to leave all those alone. I'll move my splitter back a little bit and then just loop it like that. Okay, that only applies when you're pulling from the farthest belt. All right, so I'll just do it that way. And then once we get here, we can just come back over one tile. Bring this up here. And then just like that, we've got the belts that we need. Okay. So again, we need, since we're pulling from 2 belts, we'll do it like that. You might even be able to combine these onto one belt over here. Let's see, you're going to need a little more than 1 per second of coal, right? Because you need 10 coal every 8 seconds. So you need 1 per second of coal. times 5. That's about 5 per second. So yeah, we could combine these belts. Let's do that actually, because it's a little bit simpler. And simpler is usually better. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to bring the iron over like that, bring the coal like that. All right, so now I just have to clear that side of the belt so the coal can get in there. All right. Now, since these are up here, I can't really get them. If I wanted to put the grenades on this belt, I would need to bring the output all the way down here and join up there. But I think the simpler way for me to do it right now is just to reverse the direction of this belt and put them on there. Okay, bring our power poles over. Let's throw in some lights so we can see what's going on. Okay, and then with the long inserters, we'll be able to grab the grenades. And then I'll place a box down here to pick up the extras. Now, in this case, we still need the walls. I'm not sure which belt I'm going to place them on. Maybe I'll put them on this belt. Yeah, I think I'll put the walls on that belt. So in this case, I'm only going to have one item on this belt. I don't need... I don't need a filter inserter there. Okay. And then up here, I'll put an even bigger chest. Let's make another filter inserter. And up here, I'm going to place excess wall sections, because we're going to need a lot of wall to protect our base once the biters start getting more ornery. Okay, so now we've got ammo, we've got grenades, we've got some extras being produced. Actually, I already have a lot of extras, so I'm gonna put these. I only need one stack really with me at a time, so I'll put those extras there. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so now the last thing we have to do is make the wall sections. Fortunately, the walls are very easy to make. They only require stone brick, which we're already producing a lot of. Let's repair what I just kind of destroyed. Let's relocate that, and actually I'm going to place 2 turrets since this is sort of at our frontier for the moment. And let's move those power poles out of the way. There we go. All right, so let's take a look at the bricks, or the walls. So the walls, they produce in half a second. And they require 5 stone bricks. Now if I make one every half second, and I need 1 per second, then theoretically, or no, I need 1 every 2 seconds. So theoretically, 1 machine making wall will be more than enough, right? Yeah, so let's just place that one. I'm going to leave 2 spaces. I'll place that right here. Actually, I don't need 2 spaces. I don't need any spaces. All right, so wall. I'm going to put an underground belt, which I ran out of. I'll place an underground belt there. I'll bring this over. Okay, now you're going to see a little problem here. If I run this belt all the way over here to side load, which is what I want to do, you can see that the grenades are going to jump onto that belt as well, and then they're going to go onto this belt, and I'll end up with a mess. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to point this last segment of belt towards the inserter, and that way it won't interfere with this belt that I'm going to have going right next to it. Okay, so I'll just have a fast inserter there. Now here I need 5 every half second. That's a lot. So I'm going to take a look at my Factorio cheat sheet, which the link is in the description. And I'm going to go to the section on inserters, inserter throughput, and that tells me that a fast inserter with an inserter bonus level of 2, which is what I've researched, I can pick up 2 at a time, and that'll tell me that from a belt to a container, yellow belt to a container, I can pick up 4 items per second. And a yellow inserter can pick up 1.64 items per second. Okay, 4.44 and 1.64. So if I'm going to get 5, oh no, actually I need 10 per second, right? Yeah, I need 10 per second, 5 per half second. But then I also need to take into account the crafting speed, which is 0.75. So actually I need to pick up 7.5 bricks per second from the belt. Okay, so to get to 7.5 a second, I'm going to need 2 blue inserters. All right, so we'll put 2 blue inserters there, and then we just need to get stone brick. There. Okay. Now, this gets a little tricky. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to clear the steel belt because I don't want that going into my splitter. Right, so I split there. There goes my stone brick. And then I'll just place it underground there for the steel to continue. Stick a light over here. And let's see how we do. Right, and we can see that we're inserting fast enough to keep this machine running nonstop, which is exactly what we need. You know, one thing I could do, no, this is fine. I was going to say the other thing I could do, rather than collect the extra down there at the end of the line, I could just have this insert into a chest, and then from the chest onto the belt, and then when the belt backs up, it'll collect from the chest. Either way, I suppose, works. All right, so we can see that now we're collecting the walls. And the reason I put an iron chest here instead of a wooden chest is just because I want lots and lots of walls. Because eventually the biter attacks are going to be coming so fast. You know, our pollution cloud is going to continue to spread, and eventually it'll spread so large that it'll become virtually impossible for us to continue patrolling and removing biter nests. And the biters expand too. So once you remove a nest, after a while, there'll be more nests anyway. So eventually what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to wall in our entire base and put turrets and things behind the wall to protect us. So that's why we need a lot of walls, because, you know, one wall only covers one tile. Right, so if you can imagine, if we're going to surround the entire base, we're going to need thousands of wall sections to do that. Okay, so now we are making military science packs, which are cruising down the belt, where they will get picked up and placed into the labs. Okay, So now that we have that, yeah, let's do grenades. And like I said, I think we need three levels. Oh, I won't be able to get the third one. Okay, well, we can do the first 2 levels anyway. We'll check, but I think we need 3 levels before we can one-shot things. But now that we've got that research going, we can research flamethrowers, which are going to come in handy. We can do our next level of gun damage and gun speed. What else is going to be useful to us? Yeah, that's about it for now. For Military 3, we need blue science packs as well, the chemical science packs. Now, when it comes to doing researching upgrades, I usually prioritize the damage upgrades over the speed upgrades. Both of those will give you an improvement in your damage per second. You know, which if you've played video games before, you know that damage per second is what it's all about, right? DPS. So by increasing the projectile damage first, you can increase your DPS without increasing the rate of consumption of your ammunition, right? Weapon shooting speed just means that you're going to run through your ammo faster. So that's why I always do damage upgrades first, and then speed damage, and then speed upgrades, just because it's slightly more economical. But that's really the only reason for that. Okay. And stronger explosives 1. Okay, yeah. So we're not consuming the military science packs yet, but we will be once we get this first research done. Okay, so there's our military science. If you wanted, you could blueprint this. And I think we'll go ahead and do that so we can add that to our beginner blueprint book. I'm going to hold down the Shift key so I can edit it. All right, so we'll call that military science. I'll change the icon here to the gray science pack. And then we'll put that in our blueprint book. And I don't think, no, I didn't add blueprints for this other stuff yet. So let's add, whoops. Let's add blueprints for our green circuits. Can I do that? No. What are these called? Electronic circuits. I always just call them green circuits, but that's not the proper name. Okay, and then let's do a blueprint for red and green science. All right, I am going to edit this one because I don't want to include all this junk here. So I'm just holding down the right mouse button. You can do that to get rid of things that you don't want as part of the blueprint, right? We don't want the shotgun shells in there. Everything else I think looks good. So let's save that and then take another look. Yeah, we can get rid of that. We can get rid of that. Okay, I think everything else is necessary. Okay. So put red and green. Automation and Logistics Science. There we go. And we'll add that to the blueprint book. Okay, so the blueprint book is coming along, looking pretty good so far. By the way, once I'm done with the series, I will provide you guys with a link to the blueprint string so you can download the entire blueprint book if you want to. But I'm going to wait until the end of the series so I don't have to keep updating it every week. Let's see. We're doing fine on power. So with our single power line, we're going to continue to do okay. Oh, by the way, before I end here, I did have a question that was, why don't you have to, somebody asked why you don't have to feed the burner inserters on the power line, right? Because normally when you use burner inserters, you have to put, the burner inserters need fuel in order to operate. And the reason it's not necessary is because when you have some fuel source available to the burner inserter, it will use it to feed itself, right? Watch what happens when I place this inserter here. See, the first thing it does is it gives itself a piece of fuel, right? Let's see that again. It would help if I had some light over here, wouldn't it? Right, so the first thing it does is it grabs a piece of fuel for itself. Okay, and they'll continue to do that as long as whenever they need more fuel, it'll feed itself before it feeds whatever's on the other side. So that's why we don't have to manually give fuel to the burner inserters, and that's why I always like to use burner inserters on these lines, because that's one less thing that you have to power up. And technically you could use them anywhere that you're handling fuel. But generally I only use them on the power line. You know, I could use them over here, for example, to feed the grenades. But I don't really have a logical reason why I don't, and I only do it there, but that's just how I roll. Okay, well, thanks everybody for watching. As always, if you have any questions or comments, let me know, and we'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.